Hi and welcome to the Demolic Cookery channel. So this is the sixth video number 6 in our outdoor pizza oven build series. In this video I'm going to show you how to concrete both the pizza oven dome template and also the pizza oven floor template as well. So there's loads to do again, so let's just crack on and get started. So we're going to actually tackle the pizza oven dome template first. Now what I've done is I've just prepared the ground around the actual template itself, just to ensure that when we're adding the vermiculite concrete it doesn't spoil things like block paving. So there's an old tarpaulin down here. Also, when we're using the Tyrolean gun, there is a tendency for the Tyrolean gun to actually flick the vermiculite concrete beyond the dome, some of it. So I've actually just run the tarpaulin up the side of the house because this is quite a compact area that I'm working in. Obviously if you've got a nice open space then you don't have to do that. So the first job we're going to do is to cover the pizza dome template with almost like a chicken wire cage. So we're going to be using this roll of chicken wire. I'll show you how to cut it, how to prepare it, and obviously how to be careful that we don't pierce the gym ball with any sharp pieces off the chicken wire. So we take our chicken wire, and the easiest way I've found to actually work with this stuff is just to cut in strips, maybe half a metre strip at a time, and work with one strip and then attach another strip to it and work that way. And to cut it I'm just using a pair of pliers, so the actual wire cutter part of the pliers, if you've got tin snips that's even better. And I'm just going to cut down the centre all the way through until I've got this piece, and then I'll show you what to do next. So once we've got our piece cut, I just want to show you this. So the next thing we want to do is just to inspect all the way along the chicken wire to make sure that there are no sharp pieces pointing down towards the actual gym ball. So this piece is going to go on to the actual gym ball like that. So I don't know if you can see it, hopefully the camera can pick that up, but that one there, I'm just going to turn that up and then bring it together just to make sure that we've got no sharp edges. Along the edge, what we want to do is just turn those out for now. And take your time doing this, because the last thing you want, as I said, is one of these spikes going through the gym ball. It doesn't take long. So now that we've prepped all of the edges and any loose bits inside, the next thing we want to do is to place this onto the actual gym ball itself with this thick edge running along the bottom. And then we've already got a natural curve here from where the chicken wire was rolled up. Now these actual shapes in the chicken wire help us or assist us in forming over what is quite a complex shape in the gym ball, because if we pull these together, what happens is that will curve it that way, and then if we pull them together this way it will help to curve it that way. And we just carry on doing that and manipulating the actual chicken wire until we've got a nice shape over the top of the gym ball that's quite tight to the gym ball as well. On the edges, the next strip of chicken wire will overlap this one, and we just get the edges, put them through one of these holes and just turn it around, but just make sure obviously that spike doesn't point down into the gym ball, and then you just carry on all the way around the gym ball and also over the tunnel until everything's been covered. So the next thing I've done is I'm using this a 1 litre empty fruit juice carton in order to create the opening for the chimney, and that should be 10 centimetres from the face of this board. So 10 centimetres in, and obviously make sure I've also marked where the centre line is as well, make sure it's centred. So 10 centimetres in, and then I've just cut some of the chicken wire around the actual fruit juice carton. So that's it now for this part of the build. So what we can do, we can carefully take this off, and this will be used later. So the next thing we need to do once we've formed our chicken wire around the structure and we've taken that off and carefully put that to one side, is we need to cover the entire surface of this template with cling film or food wrap. And the reason for that is it's a very cheap way of creating a decent barrier between the vermiculite concrete and the actual template itself. So again, it assists us to demold the two once the vermiculite concrete is cured. Now, one of the problems with cling film is, as you well know, or with food wrap, is that it's quite difficult to handle because it creates a lot of static electricity. So the easiest way to actually apply it to this kind of structure is with a spray, a water spray. So there's just water in here, so we just spray and then start to apply the cling film. Make sure as well that you cover this surface as well, because again it'll be easier to clean off once the vermiculite concrete is actually cured. So we need to just repeat this process all over the structure, including obviously the entrance tunnel, and then I'll show you the next step after that. So the entire structure now is covered with the food wrap. The next thing to do, take a permanent marker and just highlight over the top of the food wrap this 6 centimetre line, this guide we're going to use while we're applying the vermiculite concrete itself. Once you've done that, the next thing to do is obviously to mix the vermiculite concrete. But what I want to do is just want to explain a little bit about the process or the application that I've come up with to apply the concrete to the actual structure. So what I found when I followed videos on the internet is a lot of people instructed you to take a handful of the concrete and then pat it onto the side, build up in almost like a 6 centimetre band all the way around, leave that to go off a little bit, and then do the same process again but higher. What I found, and I think it's what they found as well, is that as you pat the concrete onto the gym ball flexes, and as it flexes it creates vibration, and that actually pushes or allows the vermiculite concrete to slide down. So what you end up with is a structure where the vermiculite concrete is a lot thicker at the bottom than it is at the top. But obviously with all the heat inside the pizza oven dome being at the top, that's where it's most vulnerable, and I think that's one of the issues why people find that these structures crack. The other thing is, if we allow the vermiculite concrete to go off or to start to cure in bands, you will potentially create fracture lines, and again that's another potential for it to crack. So to get away from this vibration, this bouncing of the ball, I did a lot of experiments and found that something like a Tyrolean gun actually flicking the vermiculite concrete onto the structure worked perfectly, because it gave an even spread and it didn't have the vibration which then caused the vermiculite concrete to actually slide down. So that's why I'm using this particular method. So to mix the vermiculite concrete, I'm taking this small bucket, the one that we're using to actually mix the coloured concrete for the brick tiles. It just makes it more manageable for me. A builder's bucket. So the actual ratios are 5 vermiculite concrete to 2 cement, and then roughly about 2 parts water as well, but again, what we need to do is we need to make the vermiculite concrete slightly wetter than normal, because then we get a more even spread when we're going through the Tyrolean gun. But it's roughly about 5 vermiculite concrete, 2 cement, 2 water, roughly. So I'll start to do that and I'll show you how I apply it to the actual structure itself. Okay, so that's it all mixed in now. It's actually taken 2.5 parts water in order to get the right consistency. So anywhere between 2.5 parts of water to get the right consistency. Next thing we need to do is to just load up our Tyrolean gun, not too much, and then we hold it level. So don't hold it like that, hold it level, just turn the wheel and just flick the vermiculite concrete onto the structure. Nice even pattern all the way around, even coverage, and we want to gain about 1 centimetre thickness all the way around before we get the chicken wire reinforcement and place that over the top. So now that we've got roughly 1 centimetre spread all the way around, nice and even, the next thing to do is we're going to place that chicken wire structure, that cage that we made earlier, over the top. Just be very careful obviously that we don't disturb any of this vermiculite concrete. So what I do is just flex the cage out as I put it over the top. It's also the reason why we haven't put the 1 litre fruit juice carton for where the chimney is going to go yet, because we'll only disturb it as we're putting the chicken wire structure over the top. So what we'll do is we'll put the chicken wire structure over the top, we'll clean a space out for where the fruit juice carton goes, and then we'll put that in place. So what I've actually done with the fruit juice carton is I've filled it about 3/4 full with water, so that will give it sufficient weight to hold it in place so we don't have to tape it down. And again, that just adds to a much easier demold once everything's set and cured. So the next thing to do is to just clear a space. Obviously we don't want to waste that. And just centre up the fruit juice carton. And now what we're going to do is we're going to continue applying the vermiculite concrete until we come up to the top of this form, and then the line that we've highlighted around the edge until we come to there. And obviously we're just going to assess and guess the thickness all the way around. I did think of using a pencil, put a piece of tape 6 centimeters in and keep prodding to make sure that I've got the depth, but the worry I've got there is it will leave cavities in the actual vermiculite concrete, so I'm not going to do that. Just going to play it, obviously look at it by eye and assess it that way. So once I've got the vast majority of the vermiculite on using the Tyrolean gun, so that almost all of the chicken wire has now been covered, the last bit, and it's quite safe to do this once the vermiculite has adhered to the actual dome structure and you've got your chicken wire structure on over the top, is the last centimetre or so I'm just putting on by hand, just being really gentle, just flattening that in. And if you're going to do this, I mean, you can carry on with a Tyrolean gun if you like, but this just seems to be more convenient or better and quicker once you're confident that everything's all adhered to the dome structure, what you need to do is make sure that any strokes you do, you go sideways or up, and make sure you don't press on too heavily. Just be as gentle as possible, just round everything off. Make sure you've got a glove on as well, because the cement in the vermiculite concrete is quite tough on skin, so just bringing that in. And just go around, smooth that all over. So that's this part done. It's taken about 2 hours from start to finish, and that includes some time for filming as well, repositioning for shots, that type of thing. Some of the things when you finish that you need to have a look for: make sure that there are no gaps as you go around. All of the structures covered nice and evenly. There's no lumps, so even any lumps out, any shallow bits, fill those in. Make sure that the tunnel is parallel to this edge as we measured right at the start, just so that you're not doing this, you're not going out, because we are going to be setting the block paving bricks in, and it just becomes more difficult if this is actually not straight or square. The other thing is just put a small level just gently on the top, just to make sure that you're not going down with the tunnel that way. So the next thing we're going to do is to concrete the actual base. So the next thing to do is the pizza oven base. I've prepared it the same way as I did with the pizza oven dome. So we've covered this in cling film or food wrap to make sure that it's an easy release once it's cured. Made sure that the base is perfectly level. It has to be, otherwise your pizza oven base won't be level. And the other thing is, make sure that you place it into a position where it's not going to be moved. Don't vibrate this at all either. You know, you see people casting concrete, they vibrate it to get a nice finish on the outside. If you do that, this will be ruined, because the cement is 20-30 times heavier than the vermiculite, and if you start to vibrate or move it at all before it's cured, what will happen is all of the cement will fall to the bottom, leaving just a vermiculite, which is a very weak structure. The other thing I've done is I've measured and folded a piece of chicken wire, so that acts as some reinforcement. So we placed 2 centimeters of vermiculite concrete in the base. We then put the chicken wire over the top of that, and then 2 centimeters over the top, and then obviously we then leave it to cure, and we'll leave both of these structures to cure for about 4 days before we even attempt to do anything with them. So now that you've got the base form filled roughly to how you want it, I'm just going to take a straight edge and just very carefully go over, just to make sure that everything is perfectly level. As far as the cement goes for these 2 structures, it's taken 1 full 25 kilogram bag of cement to do the 2. So for those of you that are opting for the refractory cement, which is a lot more expensive, then you're going to need to order 1 25 kilo bag. So that's these 2 structures done. The next thing I want to do is I want to cover these with an old tarpaulin, making sure the tarpaulin doesn't actually touch this structure, because I want the finish on the floor to be as smooth as possible. So I'm going to cover them, protect them from both the rain and the sun. With regard to the sun, we don't want them to dry out too quickly. As with any concrete structure, it will crack. In 4 days time, the pizza oven dome, the ball and the entrance tunnel structure is going to be collapsed and taken out, so that the actual the concrete dome will actually dry out inside as well. With regard to the floor, we're going to leave this for 7 days before we even attempt to demold it. So that's the end of video number 6. I can promise you that almost all of the hard work is now done. Please subscribe to the channel, and as usual, if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit the like button. We really do appreciate your support, so thank you very much for watching.